Puerto Rican kid, bald head, loves snakes, loves Blizzy, Sergio Chacon.
Yeah. What up, Pa?
Peace. Welcome to the DBS podcast. It's your boy Sergio Chacon, aka Blizzy Chacon. That shit whack. I mean, it's always gonna be Dirtbag shit podcast. The DBS podcast. Peace and welcome to the DBS podcast. It's your boy Sergio Chacon, and this afternoon I'm joined by my very good friend, stand-up comic Oscar Collazos. What's happening?
What's going on, brother? Thanks for having me.
Chilling. So we're gonna frame out like 5 topics for you guys, and then we're gonna dig in because my man Oscar's funny. He got some of the best rants. We've done a number of shows together, so we're gonna touch first and foremost. Before I forget, there's some interesting news, and it's a little bit old right now, but T.I., the rapper, recently went to comedian Godfrey's show in Atlanta, and he asked the host, Artie Fuqua, if he could go up. And as Godfrey was getting off stage, he said, now? Like, the T.I. wants to go up now? And he was like, yeah. He was like, for what? And it turns out that T.I., Mr. Rubber Band Man from ATL, is doing stand-up comedy. And when Godfrey spoke about it, he had mentioned his distaste, and he was heavy-handed, but he was still respectful. I see the.
He had to be respectful.
Yeah,
because T.I.'s big.
Yeah, and it's also his hometown.
True.
Right? I mean, he's from ATL. He runs that shit. He's one of the biggest names in hip hop, really. T.I. Had then caught wind of what Godfrey had said on Godfrey's podcast, and then called in, and it was like a thing. And so his attitude was like, well, I'm the exception, because Godfrey said no one should go after the headliner. When he was on his podcast, he said no one should go after the headliner. And I didn't sit and watch his set, because why would I watch a guy who, I do stand-up way better than? Like, I'm just better at this. Like, why would I, if he was doing music, I would sit back and enjoy it. How do you feel about that?
I have so many feelings. You just don't know. First of all, I'm overprotective of our art form. So when you're a celebrity, and just because you have money, you all of a sudden decide to do stand-up. Kind of like when Madonna was doing stand-up, right?
She did stand-up,
She did stand-up,
Well, she went to the cellar and did a spot or something?
I'm not sure, but she got on Jimmy Fallon like real quick. Obviously because they're friends and connections and whatnot. But people like me, we've been doing this for a long time. We've eaten a lot of shit. So when you see somebody just kind of jump on and kind of call their own shots, that kind of bothers me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I get it. On the flip side, I don't have the ego to give a shit about it at all. Like, at all. If T.I. wants to go on my show, like, after I got him, and granted, listen, Godfrey's on another level. He's a national headliner. He's been doing it 30 years. But I personally wouldn't care. I wouldn't care. I would just be like, fine, do your thing. Now, when the conversation is had and you start to really explore it, I do get it. Like, that's kind of a thing where I'm going to go up on your show attitude. But it's ATL. It's his hometown. I think that's a little treat. That's a little treat for the audience. And who gives a fuck? You ripped. You did your. Godfrey that night said that he did 1 hour and 40 minutes on Thursday.
Dude, that's exactly what I was gonna say. So you have to think about the audience. They had a host. They had a feature or two. And then they had Godfrey go on for, well over an hour. That's already like a 2.5 hour show, most likely. 2:15, 2.5 probably at most.
So that show went on probably like 4 hours.
Listen, yeah. So you have to think about the people in the seats. Yeah, they're excited to see T.I. come on, but at the same time, it's like, man, I'm paying a babysitter. I gotta go. Like,
then they can leave.
Next, well, yeah, but then that's weird, and that ruins the environment as a package, as a whole. You know what I mean?
That's a good point.
That's just the way I see it.
Yeah, but it's T.I. and ATL,
and that's the one thing that we can't speak to because we're not at T.I.'s level in terms of
and how
celebrity
status. And how much they probably appreciate it. Like, oh, the Mr. Rubber Band Man is in the house doing stand up. It must have been interesting for the audience to be like, oh shit, this guy does stand up.
Yeah.
And told his stories, because I would imagine that he doesn't have jokes yet. Like he must be telling stories, interesting stories, and because he is a rapper that's been doing it on a high level for years, he's probably confident enough where he can remain on stage and he got good presence and it's comfortable. But stand up is different.
Stand up, you
And
got
he probably wasn't doing stand up per se. He's
Right.
probably telling stories.
right.
I have a story. Go ahead, though. But what were you gonna say?
No, I was just gonna say, man, for a stand-up, you have to be the whole package. The whole package. You know what I mean? And T.I. has a lot of the package, but he might be missing one very important piece of the package, which is a level of funniness. Now, granted, we don't know. I wasn't there. The question is, did you hear on the podcast? I didn't listen to the podcast, but I don't know. Did you hear? Was he funny?
So that's the thing. On Godfrey's podcast, and Godfrey We Trust, they played a clip, and Godfrey and his co-host for that day just looked at it and they're like, yeah, let's move on. Like there was no laughs or whatever. And so then T.I. took wind of this, comes on, he does it on virtual, and he was very defensive. His attitude was like,
Yeah, because he's getting clowned.
yeah, he felt that way. I don't see the co-host mentioned things like, oh, he needs to do open mics and all that stuff. Listen, he's not doing open mics. Madonna's not doing open mics.
Nah.
That's what comes with celebrity.
That show was his open mic. That's the way he sees it.
That's the way he sees it.
You know what I mean?
And listen, I mean, that's just the way it is. I mean, and there is a respect. See, there's no other entertainment platform that you get away with that shit.
No, you know what this reminds me of?
Like, there's no comic, I don't care how big you are, that could go to a rap concert and be like, I want to close out your show.
Yeah. I mean, maybe Chappelle, but, you know, because he already incorporates
Yeah,
music.
but that's the exception.
Yeah,
for the
exactly.
most part, it's not
But
happening.
that's a good exception. T.I.'s not the good exception for comedy, at least not yet. This reminds me on a similar level.
But I'm saying, is Chappelle really going to do music? That's what I mean. Like, do the art form that's...
Yeah, so Chappelle's going to go after Wu-Tang and then do an hour of comedy.
No, not an hour of comedy, because that's his shit. Music.
Oh, okay,
T.I.,
yeah, I get it. Yeah.
was doing, right? He's not even doing that shit.
Yeah.
He's not going to, and granted, a lot of rappers I've met love stand-up. And a lot of stand-up, we love music. There's like this
Reciprocity,
connection.
yeah.
Yeah, so... but it's not being done anywhere else but comedy.
The only thing that I could think of right here is, like right now as a comic, I'm a little angry at that, right? But I don't know all the ins and outs. But at the same time, it's like when someone gets an honorary degree from a university. It's like, well, I went there for 4 years, and all of a sudden you're getting this honorary degree because you're famous, you know what I mean? Or like when people join a fraternity without going through the pledging process. So here we are getting beat up forever, and then all of a sudden you got celebrity XYZ just gets letters and inducted into the fraternity because they're a celebrity. That bothers me a little bit.
Yeah, I think
Shaq did that actually.
Yeah, I think that the respect, the etiquette. It's poor etiquette in a sense where no matter how big you are, you should ask the headliner beforehand. I think it's a good way of going. Shoot a note and be like, hey, listen, I'm gonna go to your show. You mind if I do some time before whatever you think is appropriate? Like having that sort of humbleness. With the address to it.
Exactly.
And that's what was missing. And even when he came on the virtual, he's like, well, I'm the exception. He said that. And then it got a little awkward.
Yeah.
So it's a big ego.
Yes.
It's a big ego.
So that's the thing. You know, when you were like, I don't have an ego, you can go on to my show, I don't care. He needs to learn the ego of comedy, of being like, hey, a show is special, man. A show builds. A show, gets to a certain point, and then for this particular show's Godfrey, boom, he set it off, and then that was it. Show's done, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, hey, I have an ego. I'm going on because I'm famous. Yeah. So, I don't know.
And he may be serious about it and want to do stand-up per se, but the celebrity is going to only last so long if he's really serious about stand-up, and people are going to really, like, what is this? Like, Are you going to be, I had a situation, I would say 5, 6, 7 years ago, where I wouldn't call it a situation. I have a story where it was me, Chris DeStefano, and Mike Cannon. I was hosting, and we were at Caroline's. And during that time,
Caroline's is known for drop-ins.
Yeah,
all the
Caroline's
time.
on Broadway.
#1 club for drop-ins.
Yeah, it's a headliner club, very famous club. And during that time, Chris was just getting off of like Guy Code, and he was doing a bunch of TV stuff. He befriends Fat Joe. So Fat Joe told Chris, yo, I want to come by the show, and I want to get on. But there was a conversation beforehand. But in the green room, we're all there. The language, in which Fat Joe, not the language, but the way he went about it,
The energy, I guess.
yeah, and he's cool. He's and cool as shit. But he was like, "Yo, this is how it's gonna go down." This is why he's in the green room before the show starts. He said, "This is gonna go down." Serge, you're gonna go up. Mike, you go. Chris, you go, and I'm gonna close out the show. And I said, it doesn't work that way. I spoke up, but Chris is a nice guy, and Chris is a dude. Just is early in his headlining set, and Fat Joe's a big deal. Rap wise. He was very sheepish about explaining that. Or maybe he didn't care. But, like, I cared. I remember I cared that day. I was like, the way he's
you can't just come in here and
he's conducting.
Call a shot.
And I told him, I said, I spoke up, I said, it's best that the headliner, people who, came to see, should close out the show. You could do the time, and what are you going to do, like 10, 15 minutes? Do that time. But I would definitely encourage you to go beforehand. And then they kept on talking, and I left the green room. But I remember feeling.
So what ended up happening?
He ended up doing a spot beforehand.
Okay, good.
So, I'm not saying they took my advice, but they took about, But I definitely put it out there because that made me feel that was unsettling. That like you can't allow that.
I could just see you in that green room, like, hey, this is what you guys should do. I gotta go.
Yeah, I mean, it was weird. It was weird.
Would that happen now if Fat Joe went now and he was like, yo, let me close the show? Would Chris let him?
I don't think so. I think Chris is, will probably be a little more assertive. Like, you could definitely do some time, but we'll get you on beforehand.
Right,
you know? But I remember Chris seemed a little tentative.
Good.
And Fat Joe goes up, and you got to understand, Chris wasn't even selling tickets at this time. He was doing well, but he wasn't selling tickets. The tickets started selling, flying off the shelves once the podcast and the grassroots following really started supporting him. But
Back then, people were going to go see the guy from Guy Code.
Right. And
now people go see Chris.
Right.
Yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, it was like an off month. It was like I believe it's the summertime. I forget. Yeah. But the room was like half filled. It was still great shows and everything. But Caroline's on Broadway is known for having like tourists. So there's like a lot of tourists there. They don't know Fat Joe. Fat Joe is like a cornerstone of like the Bronx. And though he's known internationally in rap, you throw that motherfucker on stage. So he goes up. And I could see him a little like trying to figure that shit out. But because he has stage presence, because he's been, on stage a million times.
Also, there's a celebrity factor for the audience members who will laugh easier at somebody with status than they will at somebody like us.
This is what I'm saying. He wasn't getting the laughs because they didn't know who he was.
Oh, good.
So he felt I could tell he felt a little uneasy. He did his time, though. He did his 10 minutes, and he closed with a Mike Tyson story. Everyone knows Mike Tyson. That's a good story, and he got the laughs, and the story is it's a notorious story. It's a well-known story. I mean, if you just look up Fat Joe, Mike Tyson story, and it was interesting.
I talk trash as if, but if any of these guys showed up at my show, I'd be like, you do whatever you want to do. The show's yours.
Yeah, I don't, especially with that sort of shit, I wouldn't care. I definitely wouldn't, but I get it. I get the etiquette factor and all that shit.
Yeah,
and
man.
It's strange that it only happens with comedy.
Yeah. I just it's not even. It's like like you said, having the conversation before and then going before the headliner. This is my show. You're gonna go on before me. If it's afterwards, I think that's where it can maybe get a little problematic.
Yeah,
but it all depends on who the. No one. Imagine Chappelle did this, and when Chappelle had his residency at Radio City. Imagine one of those dudes who's like, "All right, you guys go, and then I'm gonna go after you, Chappelle." Chappelle would be like, no, this is my show,
right?
No,
hey.
Or maybe you would. I have no idea.
I am curious to see a T.I. set. Is he gonna use those 15-syllable words that he likes to dig out? He uses words like expeditiously. That's the name of his podcast. Oh. Like, if he's using words like that, those are not funny words. Those are hard words.
Yeah, and you can stumble on those words, and if you stumble on your words, those are joke killers.
Yeah, and let me tell you, I stumble on my words a lot because I have an overbite and a speech impediment. So it happens a lot. And that's why I'm getting Invisalign, and I'm going to change my face. And you guys are going to be like, wow, Sergio's a good-looking kid. I'm so excited about getting Invisalign. Do you have retainers? What were you telling me?
I have, I had braces when I was in 7th grade.
You had the metal joints?
Yo, I had the
Wonder
whole
Bread
thing,
stuck
man.
in your
I
shit.
swear, it looked like it just.
No wonder you started stand up.
Yeah,
That was your defense mechanism.
One of many reasons why I started stand up. But yeah, I had braces. Your typical middle school experience where I had all of them. I had the rubber bands that were right here. I also had a rubber band that went from this top, like 2 teeth, and then went down in a triangle.
No way.
So I had 2 and then 1. And I remember that particular, I had to wear it for a month to correct the way I was chewing. And then I remember that month, I didn't want to talk. I've always been a talkative kid. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden, this month, everybody's like, hey, we've noticed you've been real quiet. How come? I'm like in 7th, 8th grade, and I'm like, this is why. And I went like this. And it looked like a web. It just looked like a spider web of just a bunch of different things in there. And fast forward many years later, your teeth constantly move. I chew on my nails. I did chew on my nails. I chew on pens, your typical oral fixation. So my bottom teeth started to get a little crooked. And with videos and podcasts and things that we do, I noticed them. I noticed, but then people were like, "No, your teeth are fine." And I told my dentist, I'm like, "Hey man, we got to do this." So I don't have it in right now. Otherwise, I've been talking like this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got
I got it. So before
not Invisalign because that shit is expensive.
Yeah, before every set, you take it out.
Yeah, sometimes I'll go on stage and I'll take it out right before I start, just to make it awkward. You know what I mean?
That's funny. Yeah, when you said that, when you opened your mouth and it was like it displayed like the rubber bands and stuff, it reminds me of Big J Okerson. He has a joke about looking at an asshole, a hairy asshole, and it has hair all on it, and it's like a villain going.
Yeah, I'm telling you,
that's hilarious. That visual.
Here's the thing, I couldn't even open it that, I couldn't even open it that big. It was probably one of the most embarrassing months of my teenage
It was only a month?
That I had to wear this one.
That's crazy.
This one. I had to wear these for a while, but
you just had a triangle, like a pyramid, right?
I couldn't talk. If I talk, people, like we spit when we talk, but like I was showering. Yeah, people.
I spit when I talk. I can't close my mouth, so my wife has to deal with this fucking visual every night. It's no wonder why she sleeps on the floor now.
Yeah,
she sleeps under the staircase like Harry Potter.
Has anything gotten in your mouth while you've been sleeping?
Not that I know of. I mean, I had a roach in my mouth back in the days. Like, I had a roach, like, creep up right here, and I, like, plucked it up.
God.
Project shit.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I mean, that can happen anywhere, but that was definitely when I was living in the projects. A roach, I just saw the antennas go like this. And I was like, yo. I had head movement, but it was right here. He probably went close to my grill, next to my mouth, and was like, yo, this guy's breath stinks. And bounced. His antennas went back and bounced. Yeah, so I'm excited about it. I mean, I'll tell you, I never really thought about it. I never really cared about baldness. I never cared about my teeth. I've always, just owned it. But I do feel with all the shows I'm doing, a lot of times I'll fuck up words. And it happened recently, and I was like, that's got to be because I know how to speak. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, as I say, you know what I'm saying? I know how to speak, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I think, sometimes it doesn't roll off the tongue.
So you're doing it mainly to correct that?
With that, and also because I want to be able to close my mouth. I want to have another face. I don't want to always have my mouth ajar like this.
That's going to be interesting because your muscles are used to a certain way, and then everything's going to change. And I'm wondering if you're going to be able to be comfortable when you have straight teeth. Are you going to be able to close your mouth and be comfortable and sleep good?
Yeah, who knows? It's a gradual process. Who knows? I might be too sexy for all this shit, and I don't have to say a damn word. I mean, this might happen. I might leave the wife and kids and all the pets behind.
Did you say
I
that?
look too fucking good.
Did you tell me that you had to get a tooth taken out to be able to do this?
Yeah, so they're going to remove the wisdom teeth above, and I'm going to get a retainer, and I'm going to have rubber bands on the side.
Yo, you're like a Neanderthal now that I'm thinking about it right now. You just got a bunch of teeth and shit.
Well, the regular size teeth, they're just out.
You just got extra.
I don't have extra teeth. Oh, I guess the wisdom teeth are extra.
Yeah, I got my wisdom teeth pulled a long time ago.
So look, this is me with my mouth closed. It looks like I have a mouthpiece on. Look, and that's a conscious effort. I got
go like this. Oh yeah, you got an overbite.
I got an overbite, motherfucker.
Yeah.
You blind? You never noticed that shit?
No, why?
Because he asked me. You asked me like, why are you gonna get braces? I was like, because my overbite is hitting your hat.
Well, it's hard for me to understand what an overbite is because I don't have one.
You do have a slight one.
I do?
Yeah, your cheek in front of your.
This guy's a dentist all of a sudden.
Dr. Chicone.
Lower East Side School of Dentistry.
Yeah, so that should be interesting. I'm looking forward to it.
It's gonna be pricey though, no?
Yeah, I mean, but money, my money long. What do you have to understand?
Yo, this
My money
podcast is
long.
wrapping up the money, baby.
You know what I'm saying?
Hold on, I just got a direct deposit.
So yeah, I mean, I'm excited about that. We've done a number of shows together. One thing I like about your stand-up is that you're a performer. You're lively. And the thing is, your energy off stage is very positive. You always set us up. So check this out. I did the Beacon Theater with Chrissy. Great. Like, that's a milestone for Chrissy, but I got some of that good shit. The following day, my boy Oscar hits me up. I mean, the following day. Actually, the week of, he hits me up.
I think it was the following day.
But the gig was the following day that he booked me for. And it was an apartment gig. I went from the Beacon to performing in apartment 3F for some pharmaceutical guy, and it was a beautiful home.
Yeah.
I mean, I felt like stealing something.
Yo, I'm telling you, it was if a mansion was in Manhattan, that's pretty much what it was. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. It was in Hudson Yards. We're in an
It
apartment.
was the 51st floor of one of the brand new buildings in Hudson Yards.
Right. So this guy, he's like, he's Jewish. His wife is Puerto Rican. And they had
Lovely
lovely
family,
kids.
by the way.
Lovely
Lovely
family.
family.
Absolutely lovely. Which I have to tell you, you got to understand, people, stand-up is hard. Stand-up is hard. Now, when you put stand-up comics in an environment, wait till I get my Invisalign, I wouldn't be able to say environment. When you put comics in an environment like that could go wrong. You know how many times I said yes to a fucking baby shower and I'm performing in front of the Benny, the buffet, and people are like, excuse me, can I get it? And I'm like fucking doing my shitty jokes, right? While people have no idea it's comedy. But you set it up so right. I mean, the guy hit you up. You asked me if I wanted to do it. You were going to do like 30 minutes. You said, Serge, you do 10 to 15. But you're such a fucking pro that not only was all the logistics like tight, address, time, everything, but when you bring me up in front of this family, you didn't have to do that. Like, you as the guy who's closing out the show, you went up first and you explained to them, hey, could be awkward. Understand that we're used to comedy clubs with a stage, a light, it's intimate. People are drinking and you guys are drinking. It's fine. But, be open, have fun with us. My boy's hilarious. Like, you set me up so properly. And I held that shit close to my heart because, yo, if it was me in apartment 3F and that was my gig, I would be like, yo, Oscar, go do your thing. I would have gave you a microphone with no Duracell in it.
Yo.
A wireless mic with no batteries.
First, let me start off by saying thank you for the compliments. I've been going to therapy for 3 years, and one of the things that my therapist has taught me is how to not feel uncomfortable when people compliment you. So thank you for those nice words.
Like he gets complimented every day and it's a problem. You see this shit? Yo, yeah, he's like, yo, it's like a problem I have. I get complimented so much that's uncomfortable for me.
No. It's not. It's not even so much. It's just whenever it happens, I'd be like, I would shoot myself down. A typical comic response, I'd be like, no, I'm not. I'm not good. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I take a compliment, man. I'd be like, yeah, you're right.
I
maintain eye contact. And I said that's the smartest thing you said all day.
I'm about to get a Ziploc bag and just catch these words and just hold them in the Ziploc bag and carry them with me. But
yeah, and also before we move on, hold that thought for 1 second. Do you have shoulder pads? That's very odd. Okay. When you're tipped, always accept the tip. Never deny the tip.
Yes.
I was tipped the other day with training someone, and I accepted the tip the first time around. I said no to be, cute, like, no, you don't have to do that. And then she was like, no, let me do it. And she tipped me. I was like, oh, thanks. Then she did it the following week, and I said no, and she put the money back. I was like, yeah, say yes to the tip.
Say yes to the tip.
Always say yes to the tip, because it's almost rude to say no to the tip.
Yeah. Sometimes I'll be like, are you sure? Just knowing,
but
like,
I'm going to
take
always,
this.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure you're not drunk or doing anything stupid. And no one's ever going to be like, oh, no. You know what? I'm not sure. I'm taking my money back. They're like, no, here.
Exactly. And every time I go ahead and tip somebody, it's because I really want to tip. I never feel forced. I'm so beyond that.
Yeah.
Like, yo, dogs, if you're making my coffee
and
and you're just putting hot coffee in a cup, and you're not putting any milk or sugar, and you're like looking at me like the world is gonna end, and you have that attitude, you're not getting a tip.
Yeah, seriously.
I don't care how big that mason jar is in front of me.
Yo, but wait, hold on. Let's go back to setting up these shows. So
Yeah.
this particular show that I did was, on the 51st floor of this brand new Hudson Yards building. And I've done so many shows like that, and a lot of them have been horrible. A lot of them. So I instead of shying away from being like, I'm not going to do these shows because they're horrible, I've been like, let me be in control, and I'm going to create the environment. So whenever I get booked to these shows, I'm like, all right, great, I'll do your show, but this is how it has to be. It has to be X, Y, and Z, and we got to start here, and we got to set up there, because we know what we're doing. A lot of times with these horrible shows, it's the people are like, here, you go, and then you're just in the middle of a buffet, in the middle of a hallway, and all these other terrible scenarios. So in my bookings, whenever that does happen, I'm like, this is how it has to be, and if you're okay, most of the time they're okay with it. This is what it's going to be to maximize the potential of the show at your event space, venue, garage, wherever, backyard, whatever. So that's what I try to do. And to go up before you, I can't just. That's not fair for you. And that's
That'd be some dirtbag shit.
Yeah,
and I've done that to other comics.
I've
been at Sweet 16s, and I'm like, I'm bringing this younger comic with me.
Oh, that's a different story.
I'm giving him $60.
That's a different story.
I'm like, yo, crack that open. He's like, where do I go? I'm like, right in the middle of the
that's
fucking
how
gauntlet.
they learn. No, that's how they learn. But we've been in it for a while. I know your talent. I know your potential. I know how funny you are. I'm not just gonna throw you to the wolves like that. Also, it creates a bad, environment for them to look at us. They're gonna be like, oh, these guys don't know what they're doing.
Right. The only dirtbag part about that gig is that Oscar virtually sent me money, but he sent it to Zelle, and I don't have Zelle.
Yo.
And then he was like,
Who
yo.
doesn't have Zelle? What type of dirtbag shit is that?
Yo,
You don't have Zelle?
I was like, I have Venmo. Can you redo it? And he's
Yo,
like,
this dude is like, can you mail me a check? And then he put in his address. I'm like, what are you talking about?
And he was like, nah. I'm already giving you this much. I'm not paying for a stamp. I was like, DBS.
Yo,
Good times.
that was a fun show though.
A few of those shows that we did, and you're one of these guys who not only are you a stand-up comic and funny, you're really fucking funny, but then you also produce a hell of a show, which is not always the case. Sometimes you get guys who produce, and you understand why they're producing, right? It's like, because
they're not funny they're not funny.
Yeah, it's like they're creating but you're very good at both. I remember a few shows that we did back in the days. You would do that at places of work when you were in the restaurant business. You may still be doing that, I'm not sure. But restaurant business is supremely dirtbag. Now, can you share the most dirtbag situation you had in the restaurant? Because you get people who are entitled.
Oh.
Now, not all people are like that, but you're dealing with the public.
Yeah. Well,
and it's like I can vent who I work with. I deal with the public too. I'm a trainer, right? But you don't. Like if you're waiting on the table, there's strange people sitting down. They're assholes in booths. They're sitting down.
There's so many stories, but the one that recently came into my mind because I was going through pictures on my phone was that a few years ago, the restaurant that I was working at has a downstairs level. So I was working a lunch at the downstairs level. So that downstairs level gets the flow of traffic after the top is full. So, we get like the walk-ins, the people with no reservations and stuff like that.
Like the dirtbags.
Yeah. But this is Midtown Manhattan, so very less dirtbaggy, right? But this one guy came down, and he did not want to be sat down there. He was an old white dude. Right, and
entitled.
Yes, so I never
racist.
I never thought about these things. People talk about old white men, and I'm just like, I don't deal with them that often, so I don't even know. But this one guy was the one example that I was like, oh, I get it. So he came down.
I wonder what his name was. Seymour.
I think his name was Peter Kit Klinger.
Oh,
I'll pull it up. I looked this dude up. I had him all ready to send an email.
Like a dick.
Yo, he came in. And the story's kind of long, but here's the short version. The dude came in. They offered him a table downstairs. He did not want to sit downstairs. He said he made a reservation for upstairs.
He lied.
He lied.
Yeah.
So my boss was like, no. And my boss was cool as shit. He was like, no, you didn't. And this is the table. If you want a table upstairs, you have to wait 45 minutes. And the guy You could tell he'd never been told no. You can tell he'd never been told to wait 45 minutes. His head looked like it was going to just spin off. He started getting red. He started shaking. Like, we're talking like baby tantrum on a grown-ass man. And he was like this. He didn't want to sit down. And then finally his guests arrived. And the whole time they were like, can you check for a table upstairs? Throughout their whole meal. Now, knowing that I had an angry customer, I did my best to do the best job that I could, but also give him his space, right? Which is very easy when you're a waiter. Just give me my fucking food. That's it.
Right.
So I was doing everything. I was keeping an eye on him, whatever. He never got to go upstairs. Now the room is full.
I need a picture, though, just so we can rationalize and logistically understand why one gives a fuck that much. What's the difference between downstairs and upstairs? What's the gigantic, what's the tremendous contrast?
In this particular space, the only thing that upstairs has to downstairs is windows. And it was like a sunny day. But the downstairs is nice. It's elegant. People rent it out for baby showers, engagement parties, birthday parties. People have gatherings there all the time. This isn't like a dirtbag space.
You know what
it's not
I
like
would
you
have
were
done
in the fucking basement.
You know what I
mean?
would have done? I would have said, we do have a seat upstairs. And I would have walked him to a window and I said, now jump the fuck out. And I hope it's not high enough where he can kill himself, but just break both his legs.
Yo, but listen.
And then he could be a disgruntled guy in a wheelchair.
I gave this guy perfect service, and he still wanted to go upstairs, and he was
talk
never
about
able.
he doesn't like compliment. He just complimented himself. Perfect service.
Well, I had to, because it's my job. So, so now the restaurant is full. The downstairs, there's like 15 tables down there, and now I'm running around a little bit, and I see the guy sign. Now, as a waiter, I got to a point where I never check tips because I make my money. It doesn't matter. You know, if you leave a bad tip, someone else is going to leave a good tip. And if someone leaves a good tip, someone's going to leave a bad tip. At the end of the day, I have a roof over my head. I have food in my stomach. I have alcohol in my system. So it doesn't matter, right? But something told me, go check this dude's signature. Something told me. As I'm waiting on
That's
table
your intuition, youngins.
Table 2, I was at table 204, and he was sitting at table 210. So it was late. It was a group of girls at table 204. And
Fat asses?
They were just normal. They were just
That's
normal,
dirtbag shit.
normal office girls from Midtown. So I said, ladies,
Literally.
give me 1 second. I just have to go check. He was already walking up the stairs. I looked.
He had a fat ass?
Who? The guy?
Peter? He
Yo,
probably has
I
a big
swear to God,
flat ass.
I would have tripped this motherfucker. So his bill was $84.75. And a 20% tip on 84 is like $16, $17. That's if you tip on the tax. If you don't, it's like 15, 14. He put 12. He put 12, which is 15%, right? But then he wrote minus 11, net tip $1 for basement seating. And I was like, I've never chased anyone for a bad tip. But I chased this dude outside. I went up. I was like, ladies, I'll be right back. And they saw the anger in my face. I got a bad knee. I ran up those stairs. I was like, nope. And I showed my manager. I took the piece of paper. I was like, look at this. I'm going to say something. But she didn't know because the other manager had dealt with it. So I go outside, and the dude was saying bye to his two colleagues. And I said, sir, I just want to let you know that this right here is unfair. And it's unfair for many reasons. Number one, I did nothing to have you sit downstairs. So if you have a problem with the restaurant, you got to take it up with the restaurant. By the way, if you have a problem with the restaurant business or a restaurant experience, don't take it out on the server if the server didn't do anything. In this case, I didn't do anything. Here's the best thing to do is you never go back to that restaurant ever again.
Yelp!
So, yeah, well, you could do that too, but we don't even pay attention to that. So I told them, and I said, this sucks because now I share my money. So this is a pool house. So now all these people aren't getting money, which again, in the grand scheme of things throughout the day, it's fine. But I wanted to teach the dude a lesson, and he was shaking in front of the ladies. But here's where I messed up. This is what, if I can go back in time, I would have shown the ladies what he did. I said, this is what your colleague did. And then
Tacky motherfucker.
And then the other thing is I went home and I searched him on his LinkedIn, and I went to his company and I drafted an email about the experience. And I had everybody in his team in the carbon copy section. And right before I hit send, I said, man, you got to sleep on this. You're angry. So I went to sleep, and the next day I was like, man, you never know. This can come back to bite you somehow or another. He could be the owner of a comedy club for all you know. And I was like,
I like the way it comes back to comedy. No, I think you did enough. I think you
I wanted to embarrass him more.
Yeah.
You know?
Listen, there's a lot of times where you want to overdo it. But it's, you did enough. I think you confronted him. That was the right thing to do. I think you're articulate and clear. So props to you. No dirtbaggery there. That's a stamp of approval.
I guess the dirtbag was on his side, huh?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that you going the extra mile and doing the email, and it's like, really? It's like, fuck it. You know what I'm saying?
But I'm still thinking about it.
I know.
I want to do it. I searched them today. I'm not even kidding. I searched them today.
Yeah, you're becoming a little obsessive.
I know.
That goes away, though.
Well, here's the thing. I don't work at that restaurant anymore. So they can't, if I post it on my Instagram or whatever, they can't really yell at me. They can't reprimand me. Here's the most dirtbag thing.
Do you think you get any good out of it for you, or the fact that you're giving him more of a hard time? Because you want to be like, I want to even this out. It doesn't feel like enough what you did?
Well, my thing
What would
is
your
this.
therapist say?
My thing, my therapist would be like, take a deep breath.
Does he talk like that?
Breathe.
Does he not have a neck?
He has an overbite.
I picture your therapist with no neck like that. Breathe.
Breathe. My thing is this. In the explanation that I wrote, it was basically how to behave in a restaurant, and how this action is really like infantile. You know what I mean? And so my thing is to teach him that. So the reason why I'm still kind of like, is because I still want to get that lesson across. So he does, because if he behaves like that at my restaurant, he behaves like that at the post office. He behaves like that on an airplane. He behaves like that in church or synagogue, wherever he may go. Like, this is, that characteristic goes everywhere with you. That's the type of person you are. And very few times does someone tell you, yo, you're a piece of shit. You're a piece of shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think you did enough, though, without allowing it to extract any more energy from you. That email, you send that shit to fucking Booker instead of giving him any more time. You know what I'm saying? Like, you send it, you just put the energy elsewhere.
Yeah.
And be done with it.
Yeah. Well, I guess the most dirtbag thing ever is I was banging 3 girls in the same restaurant. And none of them knew.
One thing about restaurants, they like to fuck.
Yeah.
They like to fuck, and you guys drink a lot in restaurants.
if
There's a lot of cokeheads, too. That's why I
go-
can't work in a restaurant.
Yo, if you go to a restaurant and your server is pregnant, guaranteed whoever is the baby daddy is behind the bar, making your food, washing dishes. That the 2 people that created a baby are working in the same space. Guaranteed.
That's hilarious.
If you go to any restaurant, be like, hey, where's your husband? She's going to be like, he's over there making you drinks. Guaranteed.
Not once have I ever fucked a client or a comic. I never fucked, anyone from work.
Interesting.
I never did that. I've always had that discipline. And I've done dirtbag shit, but I've always kept that at bay.
There was only one time, yo. There was one time. A lot of times people think I'm only speaking for myself. But a lot of times people think like, oh, you do stand-up after shows, you must clean up. And it's like, no, not really. First of all, I'm a little antisocial, a little weird. I'll get off stage.
That is bullshit. We were at Atlantic Comedy Club, and you want to hang out.
This is afterwards.
Yeah. Afterwards, man. There was like a crew of like 20 Puerto Ricans, and I was like, "Wepa, yo!" And like it was too much for me, bro.
I feel like we traded places there.
Yo,
I
dog.
feel like we traded
And
places.
so I did Atlantic City again, and who was there?
They came out?
Yeah, and you know what I did? I left them on red.
Oh!
Listen, I did enough. Like, I like these people. They're great people, but you gotta understand.
Yeah.
This is me being myself. I'm in recovery. I can't be around you people too much because, no, it's not even that. It's just like I'm done. Like, I did the half hour. I traveled that day. You gotta understand, I'm like, I don't drink. I'm gonna be boring. I mean, I appreciate you guys coming out. If I could do anything more, I could, but physically, I couldn't be at fucking Blue Dolphin or wherever fucking casino
I understand.
restaurant you were at.
I understand, but that
Just
particular
stand like that with a seltzer water.
Yo, that particular show, I headline, and I rarely get opportunities to headline, so I was like, I'm taking it all in. So after doing 45 minutes and having a good time and rocking out, everybody rocked out.
Yeah, we had a good time.
These people were into us, so
They were
it was
awesome.
Like,
They were
let's hang out,
awesome.
let's laugh. They had a good energy, and I was like, well, I'm not gonna be the guy that I usually just go right to my hotel room and go to sleep.
Yeah.
But this time I was like, let me do something different. And
usually a night after shows for me is me laying down and unable to pull the sheet that's fucking tightly tucked under the mattress, and I fucking pull a muscle and watching YouPorn. YouPorn holds me, not YouPorn, Pornhub, and I masturbate to my eyes sink into my skull.
Woo! I think there's an age range too. Like if you get a good headlining opportunity when you're in your 20s or maybe early 30s, you're gonna go out there and whoever, right? Whoever.
Then why are you still behaving like a 20-year-old? No, he wasn't trying to bang.
But here, there was one time I did a show and this lady was popping off in the front row, and I did that very corny, hacky line of like, hey, if you don't be quiet, I'll put my dick in your mouth, right? Which is so overused, but like everybody loves it, and I hate myself for using it. Much later on, like 3 a.m., I'm at the bar across the way, and I get a tap on my shoulder. I get a tap on the shoulder, and it was another random girl that happened to be at the show, and she was like, hey, so you can fuck for hours, huh? Because that's what I said. I was like, I went on, and I was like, I'll fuck for hours, right? And which I can't. Like, there's no guy that can. 4 pumps, I'm done. I'm going to sleep. So this girl was like, why don't you come back to my apartment and let's put that to the test. And I was like, well, I'd never been in that situation before. So I was like, yeah, all right, cool. Where do you live? Yeah, I'll go. But then internally, I was like, well, I don't know what to do.
Did you go?
I went. But I had to stop at Publix to get some condoms.
And then reality starts to hit you because now you're in a pharmacy.
Now you're in your mind.
Yeah, now those big fluorescent lights are in your face. Now you're overthinking the situation. Does this woman have a boyfriend? You start thinking about it all.
I went over there talking so much trash, and I could not get an erection for the life of me. For the life of me. No matter what, she tried everything, and nothing worked.
So
and
she was sucking your dick, and it was like a gummy bear in her mouth.
she did everything, and it just wouldn't work.
That's happened to me before.
I've never felt so stupid in my entire life.
And the girl was like, she was pulling it. It looked like it was like just a gummy. And then she looked at me, and she was like, I can't do this. She was like, I can't.
No, but this girl was a teacher, and maybe
teachers are horny.
Yo, they're not only horny, they're very patient. So she had a lot of patience. I was there for hours, and then finally towards the morning time.
What was your body position? Were you laying on your?
I
were you
did
sitting
everything.
Up with your hand behind your head?
Whatever.
Were you laying down?
You name it.
Were you drinking a lot?
Everything. No, I was just in my head.
Yeah.
So time goes by. Now it's like 8 o'clock in the morning. I gotta get going.
Yeah,
then I get an erection.
Of course
so
you do.
Like, let's go. We got to do this now. I'm not even kidding. I'm not saying this for entertainment purposes. 3 pumps, busted, and I was even more embarrassed. And then I was like, it was nice knowing you. It was a one-night stand. I never saw her again. She probably hates me. She probably hates all men because of me.
Yeah.
That was embarrassing, bro.
That
was embarrassing.
Yo, don't feel bad, man. I've came on Impact before.
Yeah.
With a condom on. And the girl did everything in her power to not be a person who I would come on. Listen, she had a hat on. She kept a derby on. She had a derby that was dusty.
Butt naked with a derby.
With a derby on.
Wow.
Yeah, and she was, listen.
Was she missing like a patch of hair or something?
Yeah, dogs. It was a rough one, is what I'm trying to tell you. But something about, like, you can't judge a book by its cover because that pussy was like 120 degrees. And and I was like, and I came like an impact. And then I lied. I was like, oh, we should be friends. And I tied the condom in a knot, and I put it in my pocket.
Oh, my God.
1997, I was wild.
Please tell me you didn't forget about it.
I saw a meme where, like, this is what happens to the used condoms under your bed, and there was a full-grown man in a plastic bag.
Yo, I can't believe I'm laughing at a verbal meme right now.
Yeah. One thing that I've learned, although a lot of memes are hack, and hack is a term used by comics as something that's overdone, overused. And memes, a lot of them are fucking hack, but then you come across some, like, really funny ones, and I'm like, there's a lot of funny people out there.
Yeah.
Comment section. Sometimes I'll read a comment section.
Yeah.
And, like, people are funny.
Yeah.
They can't do what we do, but they're funny.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm like, yo, you gonna use that again? Because I'm about to use that shit on stage. Shit's funny.
Well, what do you think about these TikTokers getting famous because they could do 3, 4, 5 minute videos?
Once again, I don't care about that. Like,
But do you care? Here, okay, so I guess here's my question. Sorry to cut you off, but you say you don't care. But let's just say we've been at this a long time. We're funny. We have our loyal followers who believe in us, and they're like, when are you going to be famous because we believe in you? But then you got some 15-year-old who does a stupid TikTok dance, and then they go to the comedy club, and they give them a Friday or a Saturday night because they can sell tickets because of their following. But then you go watch them, and they're good for at most 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah, it's almost like they're doing a meet and greet. They're asking questions and shit. I gotta tell you, I don't care. More power to them. And, listen, it's just another avenue you can go, but it's not stand-up comedy. Stand-up comedy is probably going to die.
Bro, what if you headlined and then a TikToker was like, let me go after you and close out the show?
Yo, I'm not scared of a TikToker. You know what I'm saying?
You set them up for failure.
Yeah, I mean, T.I. is going
extra hard and crush so they can fail?
No. Like, T.I. comes on my show, that motherfucker got locked up for having all sorts of modified guns. You know what I'm saying? I'm not fucking with T.I.
I want to live.
I'm not fucking with T.I. Fat Joe, Puerto Rican brethren. That's that right? Brethren? And I'm calling him a brethren, like we're close like that. But you know what I mean? I'm not fucking, like, I'm letting him rock. But if you're like a TikToker, I'm not, nah. There's exceptions in my world because I really love hip hop and shit, so I could be a little more flexible on one side.
Not to hammer this topic away because I know you got other things you want to talk about, but I remember getting booked at Rutgers University, and I had to beg them for $500. I had to write why they should give me $500.
Wait, so you do the gig, or it's a proposal?
It's a proposal,
and they don't want to give you $5.
They were like, I asked for $8, and they were like, that's too much money. Which in the college market, $800 is nothing.
Yo, they have hundreds and thousands of dollars.
But here's the
They're
thing.
like Scrooge McDuck out there.
Here's the thing: proven comic, funny dude. At least I think. And they're like, no, we don't want to give you. We'll give you $500. And then the next week they pay Snooki $32,000 to come and have a speaking engagement on how to party.
It was the same organization.
Same, yeah. It's the
Yeah,
people that sign off the check.
That's
I was
Dirtbag
so angry. She got $32,000.
Yeah, I can't get mad at that. I really don't care. That's dirtbag shit. There's no doubt about that. But I don't care. I don't care. My energy goes into a bunch of other shit that it's not that shit. I don't care. Yeah, and listen. That's a fight that probably should be fought, but you can't compete with people want to see and how it's presented to them, whether it's through aggressive media or shitty TV shows. People are gonna watch what they want to watch.
True.
And listen, and that's it. Like, let me tell you something. Snooki puts her name on something, she's gonna draw an audience, right? And and that's what it is.
$32,000.
Yeah,
I was livid.
Yeah.
I was livid. My cousin was going to Rutgers at the time, and she was like, the Rutgers community was angry. The parents were angry because people, they would call them for donations, and then it'd be like, wait, so you want me to donate money so you can pay Snooki $32,000? They lost a lot of money because of that.
Yeah, that's super dirtbag shit.
Yeah.
That's super dirtbag shit.
Garbage.
Garbage. What I'm in control of, and this the podcast. A lot of times we go into. I'm in control of how I feel, and through fitness, and and other things that I enjoy. I keep a lot of that shit around me, and I do that stuff over and over. And things I don't want to do, and we'll go back to, like, let's say doing a weird gig or whatever. You contribute to that situation where you can in a positive way and just fucking do it. Don't think about the past. Don't think about the future too much. And there you find yourself just doing it. And whatever it may be, it may be. But you can say yes or no to it, but you do the best of your ability. I just live a much more manageable, consistent, happier life. Worrying about all that other shit that's kind of beyond my control. My contribution to these situations during that time, that's what I can contribute. But I'm not going in uproar about that and getting angry about it. It's not going to win me that way. It's not going to beat me that way. Fuck no.
All right, so what does make you angry? Something that makes you angry.
There's blatant disrespect. It's certain things. One thing I would say, if I had to say more recent, is scammers, and that's kind of like a scam, right? Right. But I'm talking about
when people call your phone and ask you for a renewal of your car insurance. or registration or whatever?
There's a lot of shit that can make me angry, but what I harbor and allow to manifest is very little. There's not a lot of things.
Yeah, I need an example. I need to leave this podcast thinking that me getting angry.
Oh, like
for
what's
these
like a pet peeve?
Yeah, sure.
I would say.
You know what my pet peeve is? The word pet peeve, by the way.
Yeah, and which, by the way, is that's not a natural word or phrase for me to use, and it's kind of like back in the days when people say "and whatnot." I hate when people say "whatnot."
When I first came to this country, I had no idea. My fourth grade teacher she'd be like, "Gum is my pet peeve. Gum is my pet peeve."
Yeah,
and
pet
I didn't
peeve is
speak the
dirtbag.
language, and I was like, "What the fuck?" In my mind, I'm like, "What the fuck is a pet peeve?"
I don't even know what it means.
I don't know either. I know what I had to break it down. I was like, I know what a pet is. I don't know what a peeve is. What's a pet peeve? So I'd go home and be like, Mom, what's a pet peeve? And she's more immigranty than I am. She'd be like, I have no idea. To this day, almost 35 years in this country, I still don't know what a pet peeve is.
Yeah, she's like, Pepe the cat? Pepe my cat? Listen, I can't, listen, there's situations that will annoy you, but I had a situation where there was a booker who did some dirtbag shit, and I explained this on the podcast, but this will give you something more immediate. And I need to audition. I asked him for an audition. It didn't work. He said yes, but when he found out what the audition was for, because it was another club, he reneged. He pulled back on it.
Oh, wow.
That's supreme dirtbag shit.
Yeah.
Because he made it seem like his club was like special to him, and he didn't want to, allow other comics. And that's a dirtbag move, because that's comics that you groom, that you allow. So anybody. Okay,
there's a lot of that in this business.
So what I would say, people with these fucking egos that obstruct their common sense, or just being fucking emotionally intelligent. That's something I have a problem with, and that needs to be corrected. So it's corrected by telling him, you made it very clear what it is when he tried to step back and apologize, and and all the bullshit. But that's like people with huge egos who are just fucking assholes that way.
Right.
That's wrong. That's
right.
wrong. And it's like it wouldn't be done to everybody. He did it to me because he could, and it's his club. And which, by the way, it doesn't matter, because I actually auditioned at that club when it was an independently produced show. I still got in his fucking room. And I got passed at the club I want to work at. So, shit, you know what I'm saying?
It all ends up working out. You just gotta figure it out.
Yeah. So it was all good, baby. But egos, like an ego like that just, you don't become rational, or you're just fucking like a blockhead about it. That shit is hard for me. And those are things I could grudge on that a little bit. I'm like, oh, that guy's a dirtbag. Like that's not a nice person.
Any of your clients have egos that you just want to knock them out middle of you training them?
No, I train. The nice thing about where I'm at with training is I got to choose who I work with. If there's any remote possibility that energy is being displayed, I once had a surgeon who told me, he's like, yeah, I gotta be careful with my hands because I'm a surgeon. He was talking like that, like I'm a surgeon. I was like, okay, so you want to wrap your own hands? Like, you want to start doing that shit, especially when you're talking to me in a condescending, like it was condescending.
Right.
He's like, I gotta be, because I'm a, and every time I try to correct him, listen, I'm the teacher, I'm the coach, I'm the instructor, whatever the fuck you want to call it. I'm paid to instruct you. So every time I would try to correct, he's like, no. He was cutting me off. I said, you don't know. Because if you knew, you wouldn't be seeing me. And you wouldn't potentially hurt yourself. You're a surgeon, right? So
please tell me you broke his fingers.
No, what I did something better. I just didn't work with him anymore. I didn't like his energy. It definitely felt like he felt like he was he
was too good.
He felt like he was too good. And his boxing and his physicality, his athletic. And listen, I don't do that to people because he was a dick. I'm gonna hammer him, because I work with a lot of people who start and they're not very athletic, and then they become like, oh, they got a good self-awareness with their body, know how to move. And maybe he had the potential, but he didn't know left from right. He was flabby, skinny. He was a dirtbag,
Yo, what if one day you need surgery and
I feel bad talking like that, being that I'm in a position, but because it was this particular guy.
It's reality. But what happens if one day you need surgery and you go in and you see him come up and he's like, I'm your surgeon?
I'm like, yo, I'm going to keep these fucking wisdom teeth, motherfucker. I'm keeping these wisdom teeth. So, Oscar, you're from Miami. I love Miami. I have a close affinity to Florida. Miami's on and popping. It's one of the most expensive places in the United States. Like, what's the most the special thing about Miami, the most dirtbag thing of Miami? And your own original take, like, it could be a personal experience.
Well,
I love Miami.
On a dirtbag level, I'm actually from Fort Lauderdale, which is about 25 minutes north of Miami.
Right. Okay.
There's a county line divide there, so the people who are from Miami and will watch this, they'll be like, "You're not from Miami. You're from Fort Lauderdale. Stop lying." You know what I mean? Kind of like if someone's from Jersey City, they're gonna be like, "I'm from New York, but you're from New Jersey." It's kind of the same thing. So I grew up in the non-crazy. You know, people think Miami and it's South Beach, it's neon, it's thongs, it's like copper bodies, you know, and it's perfect figures. I didn't necessarily grow up right there. Now that I've lived in New York for about almost 18 years, I appreciate the weather down there. This is miserable. You know,
dogs. It was snowing 6 hours ago. Then the day before yesterday, it was 85 degrees. It's like,
but it's like
it's bipolar.
The seasonal depression nonsense is real. Like that shit is real. You know what I mean? You stay active, so it might get away from you a little bit. But if sometimes you know we fall into these lulls of not doing anything, and that shit, January.
I don't know nothing
February,
about that. I stay busy. I stay pushing. You know what I'm saying?
December, January, February, those could be some miserable months. Miserable months. And I've taken myself out of New York and gone to Florida and been like just instantly happy,
rejuvenated.
As soon as I walk out the plane, I'm like. You know?
Yeah, I mean, Florida's an interesting place. It's like a subtropical island in the States. It's like no other state like it.
But the dirtbaggy thing, the thing that I may not like about it too much is that it is extremely overpopulated, and it's a meeting point for a lot of countries. If you leave, and I can say this from experience, and it might not be nice, but if you leave a country, it's because you're struggling there and you can't make it there. Rich people don't leave unless it's a disaster, right? But rich people don't leave. So if you leave a country, it's because your current situation isn't good and you want to go somewhere else. So there's a lot of that goes from Central and South America that goes to Miami. So you get a lot of people from all sorts of different countries, and everyone is just angry. And everyone's just trying to make it. And you have this and it's overcrowded. And then a lot of people drive the way they drive in their country. Look, there's rules and there's regulations here. And a lot of times people come from other countries and they'll drive like crazy. I know I sound like I'm insane right now, but it's what I see. And it's like, wait, that guy just drove on the wrong side he just hopped over 9 fences.
You think I would survive driving in my little Fiat out there?
Yo, you would. A Ford F-350, one of these, Ford F-350s
now, it's a Ford
with
F-350, the pickup trucks.
The biggest pickup truck.
Yo, everybody who drives a pickup truck is a dirtbag.
They got anger issues, and they see your little car, and they'll just smash right over it.
Yo, they're jealous because when I don't want to pay a toll, I can just pick up my car and hop over that shit. Fiat, baby, I'm with you for life.
I got one step above a Fiat. I got a Honda Fit. Yeah. We put those things anywhere.
Yeah.
No alternate side parking issues for any of us.
Damn.
But it's overcrowded, and it's overcrowded. It gets really, really hot.
You think
then those things, you're just on edge. You'll punch anybody. I'll punch my mom. I don't care.
Yeah, it's kind of like how we feel in the train stations in New York when you got that sweat bead that's trickling on your ass.
When you're on the C train in August,
and
the AC's not working,
and the
and it's
sweat
packed,
trickles down your asshole, and
then somebody's breathing down your neck.
Yeah, and then the monitors shows that the train is 26 minutes away. That's a long time. That's a long time.
It's like that, but you're in your own car. So you get angrier in your own car. When you're in your own car, you're like, you got walls to defend you. There's like a barrier, there's a perimeter, so you can say whatever you want. You can curse.
So crazy.
You go crazy. You can't really do that over here. You get stomped out. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's crazy, man. I don't know.
You think that's where everyone being a meeting ground from South and Central America, you don't get
and Europe.
So are we gonna get any Ukrainians moving in because of what's going on?
A lot of Russian money over there.
Yeah,
a lot of Russian money. Now Russian, I don't know about Ukrainian money, But there's, that region of the world has a sector of Miami Beach.
I'll tell you,
that they're investigating right now.
This war has been very educational to me because when you tell me about Russians and Ukrainians, I didn't know there was much of a difference. There isn't, right? It's like Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, alligators, crocodiles.
Yeah, that's how ignorant we are.
Yo. Also, I think Putin is a funny name. Putin. It sounds like another name for pussy. It's like, yo, I'm trying to get that Putin girl.
Did you see the video? I don't know. I there was a couple days ago where they were talking about how they were comparing him. They brought up videos from the news from a couple of years ago when I think Barack Obama was riding a bike with a helmet and he was on a horse with no shirt, and they were comparing how like big and bad he is, and this one particular station was giving Putin props because he was on a horse and he was muscular. And I'm looking at this dude's physique and I'm like, that motherfucker's not muscular. He's just normal. He's just a normal ass dude on top of a horse.
That's on news. Yeah, that's on the news.
They were like, here he is. He's muscular and he works out. And I'm like, no, dude, that's a normal. He's got a gut. He's got a little gut.
He looks like he looks like an adult baby.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's like an adult baby.
I dated a Russian. Very little emotions. I could have told her I loved her, and she would have been like, I don't understand what that means. Like, I don't
cold,
have
right?
Cold.
Yeah.
Cold. Cadaver cold.
Yeah.
It was bad.
Yeah.
We broke up, and she didn't even care. And we dated for a while, too.
Where'd you meet her? In the restaurant?
In the restaurant.
Oh, man. So, yo, me and my man Oscar, we are scooter riders. We have taken the steps forward to correct our teeth. He's ahead of me on that. He's a funny motherfucker. In closing, please share with the people, the IG handles, YouTube handles, the website, whatever you may have got, going on. And we'll close this bad boy out.
Well, I'm Colombian. I'm a comic, and if you put those two words together, Colombian comic, that's me on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, although I don't do TikTok that much. But maybe I will. Who knows? Any social media, I'm Colombian comic, all one word, COLOMBIAN comic. Colombian comic, all one word. And if for some reason you live in Chattanooga, Tennessee, I'll be there April 29th and the 30th. If for some reason you live in the Poconos, I'll be there the 15th and the 16th.
He's looking at me like I'm his assistant.
I don't know. I got Poconos, I got Miami, I got Boca Raton, I got Chattanooga, Tennessee. I got a couple shows coming up. And then in August, I'm going on tour with my boys, Hilarious Colombian Americans, this Colombian American group that we put together. And that's a nationwide 38 city tour. So
what?
look out for that, yeah.
That's gonna be fire.
Yeah.
Yo, my wife is Colombian, so that means I have a little Colombian, you know what I'm saying?
She needs to come to one of our shows.
She doesn't do stand-up, but what I'm saying is I'm close. I have a close affinity to Colombian. So if fucking Alex Calabano gets, food poisoning from the V-spot because he didn't cook the plátanos correctly, I'll fill in. You know what I mean? Listen, that's our show. Subscribe, comment, like. Listen, make sure you comment. I love to read the shit. I love the good shit. I don't get any, negative shit because I'm the shit. But I appreciate it, all of it. We are pushing, moving forward. As you can see, the outline today, we had like 5 points. We dissected it. I bring funny guys on. We're always going to, get the meat off that shit. But whatever topics you want, whatever, let me know. And I'll ignore your email and act like I never saw it. Okay? So that's the DBS podcast. Dirtbag shit, drugs, boxing, sobriety. It lends itself to all sorts of beautiful things what this world is made of. And that's my time. That's my man Oscar's time. And I'm going way too long. We out. Dirtbag shit podcast. The DBS podcast.